Pluri is pushing the boundaries of science and engineering to create cell-based products. And with me is the CEO, Yaky Yanay, to explain what all you're doing. So many interesting things, but let's start with some news, because we're going to break a little news. Tell me about this new product.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And we just announced today, it was a press release about Pluri launching our new platform for MAIT, M-A-I-T cells. It's a placenta-based product for immunotherapy, like anti-cancer treatment for solid tumors, one of the most interesting and unmet needs in the world. And we have developed in the last 2 years a very novel product derived from placenta cells that can be treated in an allogeneic manner. So we can take these cells, doing some processing on our bioreactors and expanding them, and they are targeting to be an anti-tumor product for treating a variety of cancer patients. So I'm very pleased with this platform, and we'll hear a lot from it in the future.
Now, so you say you have the platform. Does that mean it's been discovered, it's been tested? When do you think this might be able to be used on patients? Where is it in that whole development process?
So we are starting, we're in discovery and towards the IND application. One of the advantages that Pluri is very experienced in taking product from concept to products, so we can do it very effectively. And this is a product that we are having a lot of interest and attention around it. And I guess you're going to hear quite a lot of news coming from this development in the coming years.
Okay.
So
I'm sure we'll be talking about it. So now, how does PLX R18 treat HARS? Am I even saying all of this right? What is the mechanism of that action? Explain all that and then explain the mechanism of it.
PLX R18 is a product that also derived from placenta cells. It's actually a product that I've derived from the baby side of the placenta. You know, placenta is quite a remarkable organ that we are taking after a full-term delivery. And we did discover a unique population in the placenta that has the ability to support the body after exposure to very high level of radiation. HARS, it's actually Acute Radiation Syndrome. So what happens to human body when they are exposed to very high level of radiation? Cases like Fukushima, Chernobyl, you know, dirty bomb. And PLX R18 is a very promising product in order to reduce and to be a countermeasurement against the symptoms of exposure to radiation.
Have you tested this with radiation, and if so, what have you found out?
We are developing this product in collaboration. You know, our strategy is always the same. We are in charge of the development, but we are working with partners that understand the need and can take the product to market. And in this case, we got the most amazing partner that we can wish for is the US government. So the NIH and the Department of Defense are actually our partner in this case. We tested it quite a lot. We tested a variety of different studies that the NIH and the DoD did the studies. And we also did human studies to show safety as well as efficacy. So we have a very robust panel of information over there. And that was enough for the NIH to grant us the contract recently.
Now, when I think radiation poisoning, I think of maybe a nuclear war. I mean, is that what this is about, or is it just radiation in general? Like, who would be the target?
So radiation poisoning is the one thing that we as human beings, we prefer not to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like the doomsday event of what's going to be on radiation catastrophe. There are a bunch of good series on Netflix that show, you know, the Cold War between the US and Russia, and now it's starting to hit again, or to cold again in this case. Radiation is in case that even from nuclear melting, because today there is more and more facilities, nuclear facilities for manufacturing of energy. We know that today the government in the US as well as in Europe seeing nuclear reactors as probably the main source.
That's right. There was one that just opened in Georgia.
Exactly.
I think earlier this week. So.
And that's probably the only way to supply the needs for energy in the next generations. But that's a dangerous technology. And Pluri may provide a countermeasurement that in case of, God forbid, something went wrong and we need to treat the humans that were exposed to radiation.
Interesting. Would it be a pill or?
It's an injectable product.
Injectable, okay.
Actually, the cells that you can very easily inject to the muscle of the patient. Any medical team can do it. And very easy, and that's quite a unique approach versus any other technologies that exist today.
Now, has PLX R18 received any regulatory approvals?
So the PLX R18 is developed for a while. We did, of course, the preclinical safety as well as the human studies. We did a phase 1 study also to check how it's going to work with humans. In this case, we didn't expose people to radiation because you cannot do it, obviously, but we treat patients with cancer that went for a bone marrow transplant. So actually all of the immune system or all the hematopoietic system is very similar to what happens after exposure to radiation. And we are able to show that if we inject the cells to these patients, we are seeing exactly what we see in animals in this case. We are increasing the free blood lines, the red, the white, and the platelet. And quite remarkably, and I think that that's one of the best advantages of the product, you don't need to know to what level of radiation the human were exposed. Because the cells, once we inject them to the patient body, our cells, the placenta cells, they are smart guys. They are talking with the patient body. They get signals, and they're adjusting the secretion profile based on the level of exposure or damage that the patient actually
fascinating. And what a dilemma. You can't expose the patient to the radiation to test the product, but you figured a workaround there.
FDA actually give us a very clear pathway. It's called the animal rule of the FDA. So all the safety, all in efficacy studies are done on animals, but we should do also human studies. We presented the phase 1 data, in this case for the patient that I indicated, not radiation patients, showing the safety of the product, but also the efficacy. We saw the same exact thing also in this case. The PLX R18 protect the hematopoietic cells, like the bone marrow cells of the patient, allow them to proliferate, and eventually to build the bloodlines that we need. We need our platelet, we need our red, and we need our white cells.
Interesting. What are the next steps for your research timeline? Explain what Pluri's doing. I know there's a lot.
We're doing a lot. But the PLX R18 is quite a unique product, and I believe that we are holding a product that can serve vast applications around radiation. As a safety, I see that it really is a product for safety. NIH granted us a contract last year. It's a $4 million contract for continuing the development based on the FDA requirement. And now we're in the phase that we need to see how we're going to take it to scale. My goal is to make sure that this product will be stockpiled here in the US. Obviously, there is a lot of tension now in Europe between the Russia and Ukraine crisis, and everything is around radiation. There are too many nuclear radiation facilities over there. So we're also looking at this geography and to see if it's something that we can be helpful as well. So we are developing the product with a very clear pathway towards stockpiling here in the US. In parallel, we are working with partners to see the interest to develop the same exact product for civilian applications, like patients with cytopenia, patients that that are suffering from very low blood count. So very flexible product, quite amazing data that we achieved to date, and I'm looking forward that we're going to provide more news on that product.
Wow, I look forward to it. Doing so many interesting things. Yaky, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.